There was some other big news that coming out of Star Wars Outlaws. So, Star Wars Outlaw patch 1.00.02 is stranding some PS5 players in space, forcing them to start new saves. Hefty Star Wars Outlaws update coming in at 8.5 gigabytes was released on PS5 last night, bringing it with a 50 FPS mode and bug fixes. But it caused problems for some PS5 players who've already made progress in the Ubisoft sandbox Star Wars game. So what happened here? The wake of the release of the patch, Ubisoft sent the following message to some players, warning them that they may encounter issues with current saves if they were playing an older version. The best experience, the Outer Rim, we rolled out a maintenance to make sure everyone is playing the latest version of the game. As one of the players affected who have access to an older version of the game, we are aware you might be encountering some issues after this recent patch. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused. Once you confirmed you have the latest version, please start a new save to fully enjoy Star Wars Outlaws as our team intended. It will continue on a prior save. You unfortunately face issues and ongoing progress blockers. So the thing is, people paid money, actual money, to get early access to the game. I think it's like $30 to play the game early. And now they had to release a patch and told you, you know, that progress you made that, you know, you paid like $30 for. Ooh, yeah, you're going to have to start a new game. I just got this email this morning. I wish I knew that before. I played 5 hours last night. One rate you just said, honestly, this game is testing my patience. Adding insult to injury, Star Wars Outlaws is still in early access period, meaning the PS5's players who had access to, who have access, paid more than $100 for the Gold Edition release. In effect, players are paying extra to get early access to ride when it's still early access to a ride when it's still in a construction zone. This is just amazing. And this is one of the issues with early access, is that, hey, you're paying extra and these games aren't even done yet. And then, of course, but, you know, wait, Ubisoft made good on it. Don't worry. Ubisoft gives annoyed Star Wars Outlaw PS5 players who paid to play early but lost all progress a trinket and some loyalty points. No one wants. This is from IGN by Wesley and Poole. Following this week's Star Wars Outlaws update that forced some players to restart the game, Ubisoft has offered a make good and an in-game trinket and some loyalty points. There's already the announcements. Players can play they're forced into losing hours of progress through no fault of their own. A loss made worse by the fact that it occurred during the early access period, which reserved for those who paid more than $100 for the Gold Edition. Now Ubisoft has offered a makeup good to affect players in game, a Trailblazer trinket, and 100 Ubisoft Connect units. These units are Ubisoft Connect loyalty points, which can be used on in-game rewards and Ubisoft Store discounts. Here's some store credit, guys. These units are already being called worthless by some disgruntled players. I lost 15 hours of progress. Well, I explored a lot and took my time. Today I was forced to start over, and I rushed in 6 hours to nearly the state I was before. Yes, it sucks that they couldn't just release a hotfix. Yes, the compensation for it is laughable. At least they could have given us some materials to upgrade our vehicles and the blaster a little faster. But the game is still fun. I hope no other game-breaking bugs appear. Yes. This is one of the issues with early access that I wanted to talk about. But you know what? It's really going to be the standard here. This is from Delta169 on Twitter. Big numbers today for the people that paid extra. And you look and see 130,000 people just on Steam. They all paid the extra money to get early access. And this is going to be standard in almost all these games. So it's like with early access, the game devs, they want to get more money for the game. But unfortunately, the problem is $60, $70 is kind of industry standard at the moment. And if you just try and charge more for the standard thing, people get pissed. You know, it's a real risk to your sales if you do that. So what do? You know, hey, you could create, you know, these collector's editions for the stuff. You could, you know, offer extras, a little bit of DLC or some little like other thing, you know, a little skin that you get if you charge more. But one of the easiest things to do that requires almost no work is just release the game early. Hey, you get it 3 days earlier. You get it, you know, 4 days, maybe even 1 day in the case of Visions of Mana. You get it 1 day earlier. We'll just release it earlier. Of course, one of the issues is that these games aren't even done when they're released. So you have, you know, this sort of like worst case scenario here with Ubisoft where the people lose their save progress and have to start a new guy. And of course you give them, you know, just dog shit as compensation for the extra money they paid. Your hard-earned money? Who gives a shit about that? Here's a medal and some Ubisoft points. Have fun. But it just, again, I think that for the early access to this, you got to pay like $90. It's like $30 extra. Let's see. Steam store Space Marine 2. Let's see. If you want the Advanced by Gold Edition, you can play the game now ahead of the full release. Yeah, $90 if you wanted to get the game early. So an extra $30 to pay a few days early. And dude, people are 100% willing to pay it. I mean, Space Marine 2 looks like a really good game, but I was not willing to pay $30 extra. I think you can get it early if you go through the EA store. You know, they have like some exclusivity deal. It's just, you know, just an easy, essentially it's easy money at this point. If you make a game that, you know, has some hype around it, a game that looks decent enough to actually, that people want to get it early and like cover it early as part of their YouTube channels or TikTok channels. I've seen some people calling it the sort of like content creator tax, an extra $30 to pay it early. And again, I think this is unfortunately going to become standard going forward because it's just such an easy way to make an extra $30 off, you know, like the super fans and people that really want to play it right away. Maybe like lack of self-control. So this is what it'll be. Unfortunately, you got to make sure your game actually, you know, works. Which, again, in the industry, not always the way things work out.